may not be suitable for all audiences.
A Claes Oldenburg.
Art 101 with Mr. Burgher.
Scholars, welcome back to another episode of Art 101 with me, Mr. Burgher. I'm a professional artist and master educator attempting to provide you with the best in art historical content. If you like the content, make sure you like, share, subscribe. I much appreciate it.
So what? Huh? What?
So today, I'm here in downtown Des Moines taking a look at this Claes Oldenburg work, Crusoe's Umbrella. Now, as you know, because you clicked on the video, we're going to jump into Claes Oldenburg a little bit today. So let's just jump in, get started. One of the most respected pop artists, as well as one whose work was dominated by sculptural pieces, was none other than Claes Oldenburg. In his works, he attempts to use everyday objects that work on their own terms, but also reflect the surroundings of the city or environment or space that they take up in a light-hearted sort of way. Oldenburg became well-versed at a pretty early age. His dad was a diplomat and he was Swedish! And this required him and his family to move all over the world. At the age of 17, young Oldenburg settled in Chicago. He went on to study literature and art history at Yale University and went on to study under Paul Wadrart at the Art Institute of Chicago while also working as a reporter for the City News Bureau of Chicago. By 1953, he had opened up his own studio in the city where he was creating illustrations for magazines, and that same year, he also became an American citizen. As a professional artist now living in New York, Claes Oldenburg became an innovator artist in the area of performance art. He would say, "Art is a technique of communication. The image is the most complete technique of all communication. Painting, especially much better than words, allows oneself to express the various stages of thought, including deeper levels, the underground stages of the mental process." Soon off the front of his studio, he opened the store. In 1957, he would create his first soft sculpture. There he displayed everyday objects that he made of plaster, newspaper, cardboard, burlap, and he was experimenting with several different figures and letters and signs at that time. About 1962, he became an artist under the emerging movement of pop art. Now, his work generally fits into two basic categories. One of those, as I mentioned a moment ago, is soft sculpture. The other are his steel monuments.
It's something, isn't it?
Yeah, it's something.
Oldenburg's soft sculptures began as a part of the store, an environment that he had created for his random objects. Many of these works were large pillow-like works that represented many different types of things. He made food like hamburgers and french fries and ice cream cones, which was pretty common, but he also made other types of things, not just food related.
We're gonna eat a lot of snacks together!
By the mid-1960s, he was in full production with his steel monuments. Many of these works were commissioned by cities around the world. Nearly 40 of these works were made in collaboration with his wife and colleague, Crusoe Umbrella, a Dutch-born sculptor, art historian, and critic who started working with Oldenburg, ended up getting married to him in 1977, and they would stay married and colleagues up until her death from breast cancer in 2009. One of my favorite works that they had collaborated on was one that we looked at the beginning of this video, the steel monument known as Crusoe Umbrella. Now, as the story goes, Oldenburg was commissioned to create this large sculpture for a sitting area next to the Performing Arts Center known as the Civic Center in Des Moines, Iowa. Wanting to capture an object that was really fitting and represented the city well, Oldenburg went on a walk throughout the small part of the city. He noticed the arches underneath the bridges and the dome on top of the Iowa State Capitol building. Side note, while traveling through the Midwest, Chicago, specifically Chicago and Des Moines, Iowa, author L. Frank Baum was influenced by the World's Fair that he saw in Chicago and the Iowa State Capitol when developing his Emerald City for the book The Wizard of Oz. And so Kansas may be the home of Dorothy, but the Emerald City is kind of a split between Des Moines and Chicago, so there's that.
It's beautiful, isn't it? Just like I knew it would be.
Oldenburg was influenced by the negative space under the bridges, the positive shapes of the five-domed Capitol, and he makes his way back to what was known as Nolan Plaza, where this sculpture was supposed to go, and he was thinking about these shapes and these spaces, and then all of a sudden, as the sun was going down, and literally a light came on over his head, and there's that red glowing neon umbrella, and so it was determined Crusoe Umbrella was going to be built in Des Moines. Now, this is but one example out of many examples of the types of fun-loving steel monuments that Claes Oldenburg had created over the course of his career. At the time of his passing, he was dividing his time between homes in New York, California, and abroad in France, always creating and innovating and thinking about his legacy and his work.
The images are coming from the street. Of course, they're highly changed, metamorphosized, but they are all derived from the street. When you make art, I think you want to put the human experience into it, and I think that the only thing that really saves the human experience is humor. I think without humor, it wouldn't be much fun.
And that's just it, folks. We just can't take ourselves too seriously. The art class is not going to be like a math class. The art studio is not going to be like an office building. It's okay to take the work seriously, but it's also okay to have fun with it. That's something that you should remember, and that's also something I need to remember. So go out, make your work, learn about these great artists, and have fun on that journey. I hope you enjoy that as much as I appreciate being able to bring it to you. And remember, there's Mr. Burgher merch available to you at redbubble.com. We'll see you next time, and thanks for watching. You have yourself a great day.
There's only one word for that kind of thing in my book. Wild.